Hello everyone, welcome to this live presentation, first of many, I hope. Hello TradeUp, and hello everyone. And the idea is I want to explain general setup that you can do with really what you already have. You don't even need markers, but I am going to explain how to use markers if you have it. Okay. So first of all, we are on this session we are going to use pivots. Okay. So how can you detect a pivot? NinjaTrader includes a tool. The name is Swing. For those who have the platform in other language, maybe the name is different, but on English it is Swing. It has only one parameter, the strength, and this number, let's say we place 10, is going to detect and show the highest high with this color and the lowest low with this other color of the last and the following 10 bars. And what I mean by the following, what we see here means that this bar is the highest high of the last 10 bars, because I used the parameter 10, and also the highest high of the following 10 bars. Okay? That means that it is impossible to draw a dot here, because we need to wait at least 10 bars to know that this was a pivot. Okay, so this is important to have into account if we are going to use this value on a formula on NinjaScript, Builder, markers, whatever. That means if we are here, we don't see a dot. Okay, we need to wait at least 10 bars. And when we are on the bar number 10, then this indicator repaints. Okay, it repaints to the past. But in this case, it is not a problem because it is not changing nothing. But the idea is we don't know this is a pivot until we are on the parameter, on the number of bars to the right, 10 bars. If we set a small number, then we get more pivots. Some of them are fake. Now, which is the value of detecting a pivot? We can detect double top, double bottoms. Let's see if we can find some good example. For example, at the bottom. Can you see at the bottom? Here. This is a double bottom. And something more simple, because, for example, this is a possible double top here, but no a big movement. Now, on this chart, we can see one of the examples that I wanted to comment, because here we have a pivot. We know that this pivot is really a pivot more or less when we are here. Okay, so the price is more or less at this point when we know that this is a pivot. This was a pivot. Okay, so now what can we do? We can try to bounce over that level, because we are trading a double top, and we can see there is a certain impact. You may get a target, okay, because if you draw a fib from here to here, we reach at least 50, maybe 786% from the bottom to the top. So that's okay. We can trade a double top. But the most important, the setup that we are going to check today, is it fails. Okay? it fails. So this double top finally breaks and it goes all the way to the upside and finally retest the same level. So visually maybe complicated to detect this visually, and more because mostly because this is so evident, but there are some hidden double top, failed double tops and failed double bottoms. Question from Toulolup. No, this is the real indicator. Okay, this is the swing indicator. But now we are going to review what is the TIS swing. Okay, because if we want to trade this bounce, this indicator is useless. Because when we are here, where we need to take the decision of bouncing or not, the current reported swing is here. So this indicator is not useful for this. We can use the swing to detect a bounce, a double top, a double bottom. And let me show you how you can do this. Let's say we want to trade a bounce over the swing. Okay? That means I want to trade this. We need to also notice or see that the indicator has no value on the bar with the signal. Can you see? Because the pivot is broken. So I cannot check if this close is below this level. What I can do is check if the close, this one, is below the level one bar ago. Okay, that means we are bouncing. Okay, let me show you how you can do this with markers. First of all, we need to copy the levels. If you are on Builder, you need to do the same. And we are going to do the two things with Builder and with markers. First with swing, so we can see the problems, and then with the TIS swing. So we need to use the tool copy, assign a name, for example, swing high, and what I want to copy is the indicator swing high. Indicator swing high. How many bars? The same parameter that we have here, 10. Okay, 10. Okay, we can show the copied version of this indicator with big blue dots, and it looks like this. The good part of this is that now we can see what we see real time. Can you see that there are no dots here? Because on real time, there are no dots. When we are on this bar, there's nothing. When we are on this bar, there's nothing painted. And now, it starts painting to the back, because the swing repaints. But this is what we can see real time. And we can see that on the bar with the signal, there's no value. That means I cannot compare the current price with the current value. I need to check one bar before. Using logic, it could be something like I want to check that the close is below, but we are touching, okay? We are bouncing over this level. So the logic will be something like this. For a short, no? Let's say we want to go short because we want to bounce. So the close on the current bar is below the entry line. The entry line is what we just copied, the swing high. Okay? So we are closing below the swing high. Where? Now, no. Because now we know it do not exist. So one bar ago. Okay? But also, we are touching the level. Okay, so the height of my bar is greater or equal. So we can say that also, and the height of my bar is greater or equal the swing height. We can copy from here and paste it here. And is that enough? I guess no. Let's paint the background in red when this is true. And we get something like this. Okay, perfect. So we can detect when we are bouncing. Same here. Okay. Sometimes it works. It is like a double top. Sometimes it works, sometimes no. When the market is going up, usually it is not working. When the market is going down, maybe, but sometimes we don't reach to a double top. So it is, in my opinion, more important to retest the broken pivots. Okay. Now, the problem is there's no way to extend this. So let me show you what we can do with the with the TIS swing indicator. Okay, so let's remove all of this and go to the TIS swing. With the TIS swing, we have two extra parameters. This one. Now we have strength to the left and strength to the right. Okay, so to replicate the same signals, we need to use the same values. Okay, and we get this. Let's make the dots bigger so we can see them better. 3 and 3. Okay, now first of all, we can see that this indicator is not repainting. Okay, so we can see here what we get real time. Real time, we don't see nothing on the pivot. When we are a certain number of bars later, the parameter strength right, then we start looking for the pivot. For certain setups where we want a fast detection of the pivot, we can use a smaller strength to the left, to the right. Let's say only 2 bars. Okay? So for certain setups, not for this one. Because now, only 2 bars after, we can see that this was a pivot. But look at what happens here. Okay? This pivot has 10 bars to the left, but only 2 bars to the right. Okay, so this is not a significant pivot, at least not for this setup. We need a good, evident, and robust pivot. So for this setup, we can keep using the same number or even a bigger number, because this is another feature. We can extend this. But let's go slowly with the same settings, okay? Then something that we can see that this indicator, in the same way that the original swing indicator, has no values when the pivot is broken. You can see the plots, pressing the middle button, you can see that we have 2 plots, the swing high and the swing low, until the pivot is broken. Now we can see non-available, NA. The non-available means that between this point and this point, in all this interval, there is no swing high, because this pivot is broken and we need to find a new pivot. Okay, this happens on both indicators. This is a problem when we need to create a logic. For example, let's say that you want to detect a higher high for your logic. It is impossible to detect a higher high, because a higher high means that the current detected high is greater than the previous detected high. But there is nothing here. There is a non-available. So any logic is going to throw an error. If you do this on Builder, on NinjaScript, anywhere. So what can we do is to untick, disable this option, the remove broken pivots. Now, visually, it is not useful. But for using on NinjaScript, on Builder, with markers, we have a lot of uses for this. One of them is detecting a higher high, because we only need to check which is the current value of the swing, which was the previous value. If it is higher, it is a higher high. We are detecting a higher high. This is the current high detected. This was the previous high detected. Okay, but now we are not using that setup. We want to detect this. Okay? We want to detect a broken pivot retest. And now everything simplifies to a bar pattern. Okay, a bounce bar pattern. There are lots of bar patterns, bounce bar patterns, because we can be breaking the level or we can be bouncing the level. Which is the simplest bounce pattern? Let me draw this with a rectangle. The simplest bar pattern is a 2-bar pattern. We cannot use 1 bar only. Okay, 1 bar pattern will be that. Okay, I am closing. This is my entry. Okay, this is entry, and this is the close. So we are closing over the entry, but we touched the entry. Okay, so that means, are we bouncing or no? No, this is not enough, because maybe the price is coming from below. We need something else. Like, for example, the previous close was over the entry, or the previous low. You can be more restrictive. And that will be a 2-bar pattern. Okay, let's do that slowly with markers. Then we can do that with Builder. So I need to copy this level. Let's use 10 and 10. But first of all, okay, before going, let me find an example where we need to extend that level. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say we can see that this is too close, okay? What if the bounce was here? Okay? I mean, what if the market was doing this? Just 2 bars later. The problem is, now we have a new pivot. So the level is at the top, no longer visible here at the bottom. What can we do? Okay, we can, because this indicator has strength to the left and strength to the right, we can increase that parameter. We can make the strength to the right 15. Okay, more strength. It doesn't matter that I need to wait 15 bars, because we are not only touching, we are breaking and then retesting that level. So we are far from that pivot. So it doesn't matter that this is a big number for this setup. So we get something like this. We can see the delay that we have between this pivot and this other. We have enough time to retest, and we have even more bars later. So for this example, let's use 10 to the left, 15 to the right. Okay, let me write so I don't forget. 10 and 15. This is just an example. So now I am going to copy the levels of this indicator, and then I am going to remove the indicator because we don't need the indicator once the signals are copied. So first, let's copy the swing high with markers copy. Swing high is now the indicator TIS swing. With 10 to the left, 15 to the right. Don't remove the broken pivots, and I want to see the high. Okay. And let's use now big dots. I don't know if 3 is enough. Yes, that's okay. Can you see the blue dots? And we can do the same for the shorts, for this part. So we can right click and copy. I am doing a copy of the indicator markers copy. And now you can paste. So now we have two markers copy with the same name. And we know that this is an error, so we need to fix that. Here we can see on the list we have two copies. Okay, now the second copy is the swing low. We can use red as a color, red. And also the plot is the other. No? So on the input series we need to select the other plot. Okay, apply. And now we have the two plots. That means that now we can remove the original indicator because we don't need it anymore, this one. Remove. And now we can create this logic. Okay, the logic is, let me magnify this area. Let's go slowly. A simple bar pattern, only one bar. So I want to demonstrate that with one bar is not enough to detect a bounce. Okay, only one bar. We are closing over the entry, and we are touching. My low is less or equal the entry. Only that. So we create the marker logic. Marker logic. Let's paint this in color blue. The signal, no? And the logic is my close is greater than the entry. The entry is swing high. Swing high. This is the name that I copied here, swing high. Okay. And now I can use on the current bar. I don't have the problem that we had with the other indicator, with the NinjaTrader indicator. So I am closing over the swing. Perfect. And also the low of my bar is less or equal. We touched or even went below the entry. Swing high on the current bar. Now, is this enough to detect a bounce? I know that no. On this case, it is perfect, but we get crossovers. Okay? So we need to add at least minimum one extra bar. This. We can make it more complex. Let's see if we add one bar. Now, that extra bar can be that the low is not even touching, or maybe that the close is greater than the entry. Let's try with the close. So we can add, and on the previous bar, the close on the previous bar is greater than the swing high one bar ago. Okay? Now this is no longer present. this is okay because we are bouncing. Okay, why are we bouncing? You can say because it is following my rule. My rule is I am closing, this is the close. I am closing over the entry. I am touching the entry. So yes, it is a bounce. And also we are coming from above. Hmm? Visually, this is a breakout. In my opinion, this is a breakout. The problem is it follows my rule. My rule is this is the close, it is over the entry. I am touching the entry. And also on the previous bar, there is a space. Okay, you can say, let's make it more complex. Let's make it, instead of only 2 bars, like this, let's make it a 3 bar. 3 bar. Okay? So we are closing over. The previous bar is over the entry. And the previous bar is also over the entry. The problem is the previous bar has the close also over the entry. So even if I add another bar, so if I copy this, paste, 1 bar ago, that means close 2 bars ago is greater than the swing high 2 bars ago, this is going to remain. Okay, because this is the close 2 bars ago. Okay, that I can look at the low of the bar, but this is too restrictive. In my opinion, it is better if we just extend this 1 extra bar. Okay, because now the close 1, 2, 3 bars ago is no longer over the entry. Let's try. So I can add, and the close 3 bars ago is greater than the swing high 3 bars ago. Okay? So this is no longer a bounce. This is a bounce. Perfect. So let's take a look at the signals. We have a signal here. The original signal is okay. It keeps working. This is also working. Perfect. There are failures? Yes, okay. There are. Everything has failures. For example, here. We have this pivot, and then we are retesting here and here. It works. Okay. Those are the two that we already saw. What about this? Yes, it is a bounce. Okay, it is a bounce. And really, it works. Okay, you need a big stop, but it works. Something that happens here. If you want to improve this, you can. Okay, it is a bounce. You can see that it is a bounce because if we magnify this area, this is the pivot. And you can see we are bouncing. We have a lot of bars not touching that entry line. And then we have a bar closing over, touching the line. And we have 3 bars over the entry. So it is following our rules. Something that you can increase the rules to make it more robust is, okay, I want this distance bigger, okay? But more about that later, because this is not so simple to create on a logic. You can see that now the complexity is more or less average. Let's say we want to do the shorts. Let's simplify this. How can I do the shorts? Usually on any rule, just inverting the logic will work. And this is not the exception, okay? So we can copy, select, right click and copy, click on another place, right click and paste, and now we have two logics doing exactly the same. So we can edit the second logic and convert it into shorts. Let me copy this to a notepad so we can see it with big letters. This is the logic. We can type condition by condition because this is the format that we are going to use on Builder. Okay? On Builder, each row is a condition. Now, if this is for a long, which do you think is the logic for a short? First of all, we invert all the logic. Instead of greater, less. Instead of less or equal, greater or equal. Instead of greater, less. Instead of greater, less. Instead of greater, less. Okay? But then the low of the bar, no. The high of the bar. Okay? Then the swing high, no. The swing low. Because now we are looking at the other line. Swing low. So we can copy and paste. And now we can copy all of this and see if it works. Copy and type it here. First of all, this is the second logic. Second logic. Change the color, red. And I forgot to create a fast signal. If you want to automate on the longs, create a fast signal, go long. On the shorts, create a fast signal, go short. But the most important is here on the logic, we can paste what we had on the notepad. Now, let's see what happens from the end. And let's check all of the signals. This is the pivot. It is breaking below. Okay, and now we are bouncing several times. One here, another here, another here, and finally here. All of them more or less worked, but at the end, this one is the better. What happens if you try these, all of the signals? Maybe you enter on the first signal and maybe you don't reach the target, and also you don't reach the stop if you are using a big stop, and finally you get the target. So you take only one trade, okay? So not a big problem. Where are the fields? The fields are on the bar with signals. This is the bar with the signal, and this is where we have the close. So this is the place where we have a field. Okay, let me magnify this. So my short starts at the close of that bar. For the second signal, we start at the close. This is the close, okay? Here. And this other signal starts at the close. You can say why this is a signal, because just follow the rules. We are closing below the entry. We are touching the entry. You can see that the high is greater or equal than the entry. And also, a few bars ago, there is a space. We are not touching. So on this bounce pattern, we are testing n bars, but we are not detecting, we are not using as condition how far we go from the entry, how important is the bounce, okay? So maybe we can avoid this first one here, because really, okay, we are breaking below, but this is not a big bounce. Okay, there are no enough space here. This instead is a good space. Okay, let's do this on Builder, and then we can compare. We can check a few signals more. No, this one is from this pivot. This is really evident. Okay, this pivot was retested several times until it fails. Okay, and we have a short. Perfect. Let's see a few more. This one is a failure, but look at this one. This is very interesting because if you want to automate signals given a logic, that's okay. But we need to check the structure here, because okay, we have a pivot, this pivot. We are retesting that pivot several times until it fails. But we are touching another pivot, so it is a double bottom. Okay, we have several pivots here. So it is really complicated to bounce and break, because we broke this first level, but then we are bouncing over this other pivot. Okay, so be careful. We can trade all the signals, that's okay. This will be a loser, but if we are paying attention, we can see that there is another pivot here. So we need to break the second also. Anyway, let's say that we are doing everything in full automatic mode. Okay, let me check if there is another short here. The problem of this short here, we are retesting, it is not working, and then it breaks to the downside, retest, and finally it works. Perfect. Okay, it works. Why are we not shorting this? Because this is a high pivot. Okay, the high pivot is, we are trading failures, no double tops. This is a double top. So for trading this level, we need to break and retest. Okay, this will be the trade, but not signal on this case. Let's see, we have more shorts. This one here. This one here is coming from this pivot, these two pivots. Okay, and it works perfect. So really, visually, it seems to be working very, very well. Okay? And very simple to do this with markers. Now let's see how easy it is to do this with Builder. We go to New Strategy Builder. My NinjaTrader is slow today, so it is taking some time to open Builder. I don't know why. Sorry. In the meantime, if you have any question, feel free to use the Q&A option. For those who are late, I repeat, you can use this button, meeting tools, and then the Q&A. Okay. New strategy. For the name of the strategy on Builder, we cannot use spaces, underscore, no, nothing. So, okay. I usually start with width, and this is a broken pivot retest. Broken pivot retest. And I guess I have something similar or no? Yes, I have something. Okay, version number 2. Okay, broken pivot retest version 2. I guess the version number 1 is something that I already created some time ago. Now, which are the parameters of this strategy? We have target, we have stop, we have strength to the left, we have strength to the right, and that's all. We can make it more complex, but let's make it simple. So, target. With a default of 10 ticks, then we can change it. Stop. With a default of 10 ticks, then we have strength to the left. Here we are using 10 on this example on the chart. Strength to the right. Right. And on this example we are using 15, but we can change those numbers. And that's all. No? Yes, that's all. So now, conditions for long is this. So add. And can you see that we have ands here? The equivalent of ands is if all here, if all. So all the conditions must be true, same as here. So let's do this. Close is inside the price. Close 0 is the 0. Greater. And the swing high is part of my indicator. Indicator, TIS swing. Here. And the TIS swing has two parameters. Strength to the left, strength to the right. Now we can attach those parameters to the input parameters of my strategy. Strength to the left, user input, strength left. You don't need to, the name don't need to match, because this is the name of the strategy that I am going to link to the name of the indicator. Okay, strength to the right, linked to the parameter strength right. And we need to untick this option. Okay. Now the upper line, signal up or signal down, we need the upper, okay, because this is the swing high, okay, and on the current bar, okay. Default is a close, that's normal, no problem. Now we need to type low 0 is less or equal than the same, this remains the same. So to save time, we can right click, copy, right click, and paste. Because the only that we need to change is replace close by low. So double click, and low 0 less or equal, and the same thing because we don't change nothing here. Okay. Now for the following condition, we can use exactly this one because the only thing that changes are the indexes. Can you see? We need to replace 0 by 1. So let's do this. Paste and replace the zeros by ones. 1 on the left, 1 on the right. Okay, so this means close 1 greater than the swing one bar ago. And we repeat this for 2 times. So paste, paste, and here we need to replace by 2 and then by 3. So here we replace the 0 by 2, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and here we replace the 0 by 3, 3 on the left, 3 on the right. Okay? So now we have everything. Now you can place enter long, but usually I suggest painting. Okay, so you can check if it is doing what you want. The simplest signal to paint is the background. So drawing, at the bottom you have set background color, and you can change a color, blue for example. Okay. Now we can duplicate the tab because it is similar. And now we do the shorts, this part. First of all, change the color because now we have shorts with, I don't know, crimson or red or gold. It doesn't matter, okay? Any color. This is the color for the shorts. Now, what we can see here that it changes the greater by less. So double click on the first condition. Close 0 is less, and here we need to change the plot. Instead of the high, the low. So we do that here. Signal down. Okay? So this is ready. On the second, we need to replace low by high, 0, 0, is greater or equal, and swing low, signal down. Okay? And now for the rest, okay, it's only changing this and this. Or you can copy and paste the first row. It is your decision what is easier for you. But let's do this method. Close 1, this, is less than swing low 1. We need to change the plot down. Okay? Now, if you want to save time, let's remove the others. Remove, because it is similar to this. You can see that this is similar to this. So let's copy this and paste it twice. Paste, paste. Because we only need to change the ones by twos. 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and then by 3. 3 on the left, 3 on the right. Okay? And that's all. We can compile and see what we get. When we place the strategy on the chart, we should get the same signals. Okay? Strategy. It was with pivot. Broken pivot. With broken pivot. This one. No, this one, no, this. With broken pivot retest version 2. Okay, so we have a target of 10, a stop of 10, left and right 10 and 15. 10 ticks is too small, but we are not taking targets by now. We can enable the strategy, and we can see it is painting more or less near the same values. There is a difference. I don't know if you can see, but if we magnify this to understand what is going on, those are the signals by markers. But look at the histogram. The histogram on markers is showing when the condition is true, but it is triggering only the first time. Okay? Now on Builder, it is painting all the signals where it is true. Is it a problem? Not really, because let me show you. Because we already explained this. If you enter short on this bar and then you enter short on, you try to enter short on the second bar, nothing happens because you are still short. So you need to reach the target or the stop. Let's see if this is true. On markers, by the way, I forgot to mention, we are using this condition is we are painting the first time that this is true, because we can also paint all the times and we get the same result. Okay, but we have the option of painting and also creating a signal the first time that the condition is true. But for the strategy on Builder, let's see what happens if we enter long and then enter short. Now we need targets and stops. This is on the following stage. A target in ticks defined by the parameter target. And then a stop in ticks defined by the parameter stop. Okay? Okay. Now we can compile and refresh the chart. Okay, now if we enable the strategy, we can see that there are some trades. The problem is, let's take a look at what happens here. We are entering everywhere. And we can see, for example, no, on the first place, 10 ticks is too small because a bar is greater than this. We should see something like, I don't know, maybe more or less this size. How much is that? And also with a stop of more or less like this. How much is that? You can use the ruler. From here to here, we have 50 ticks. Okay, and okay, I guess more or less 50 on the other side. Let's try 50 and see what happens. Strategy. Turn off. Increase the target to 50 and also the stop to 50. Enable. And now we enter here and it goes to the stop. And it is not entering on the other signals. Why? Because it is in the market. You need to wait until the trade finishes. So if you are short, it is not entering short again. It can reverse, but it is not going to enter short. Now, if we increase the stop, let's say 100, and also we increase the target 150, now we get a winner. And also only entering the first signal. So Is it a problem having multiple signals? No, it is not a big problem. We can fix this if you want. This is what we do on the training sessions all Mondays, but it is going to take too much time. And for this example, it is not necessary. Let's see the rest of the. Let me remove all the drawings. Okay. So we can see the signals, remove all drawings, yes, and magnify. So this is a winner. It is not taking the second signal because it is still holding a long here. So the short is working, this one is working, this long is also working, this long is also working. This short we already know, it was a loser. Here we have a winner, and this was a loser just for one tick. Look at this. Just for one tick. If not, it is a winner. We can try strategies. Let's say instead of 100, let's make it 120. Yes, much better. The only problem is now it is a winner, okay, on the same bar. So here we have a problem because we are taking one signal and then another signal, but there is only one bounce here. Okay, this one is a loser. Okay, because the stop is bigger. But again, we can increase the stop and make it work. Let's see. You know that you can use the strategy analyzer to optimize this, okay? But this is not the purpose of this webinar, okay? We are understanding how to use the swing indicator to create a lot of different and complex setups. Let's say that we use 150. Let's say 200 and 200 and see what happens. To the tick. Can you see this? To the tick. So let's say 250 and 250. Now it works, okay? And also it is working for the other that was also a loser, this one. Anyway, I don't know how good or bad is this. It has a profit factor of 1.4, but the number of trades is insignificant. So we cannot get any report from this number. Now, let me show you something else before it is too late. Let's say I am going to share this strategy with all of you. But let me show you something else. This is a bonus that I wanted to explain. It is just a bit late. Maybe we can leave this for another session. But I want to show. You saw that I explained that there are a lot of bar patterns for a bounce, to detect a bounce pattern. Okay, we have an indicator, and the name is rebote, where we can detect using a rebote over a moving average. Let's say, let me do this very quickly. The rebote. On the rebote, we detect the bounce over a moving average. This is an exponential moving average of 50, where we wait 10 bars. You remember, no? We waited for 10 bars, not touching the entry line at a minimum distance of something. Okay, the two parameters that I was commenting before. Okay, So we get something like this. And you can see here, we are waiting 10 bars at a minimum distance of 0.5 points or whatever you want, and then we enter on the moving average. We all know the rebote from a long time ago, but for those who are using this indicator, you know that you can change the EMA by something else. Like, for example, I don't know, let's say a VWAP. Let me draw a VWAP. TIS VWAP. Okay, it looks like this. The VWAP starts a new line each day. Okay, each day we have a new day, a new line. Now, can we use a rebote on the VWAP? Yes, we only need to change the line. Inside the rebote, inside the input series, we place the line that we want. For example, TIS VWAP. Okay, okay. And now we are doing the rebote. Rebote, again, rebote means bounce in Spanish, okay? We are bouncing over the VWAP. Or whatever, okay? Another possible line that I really like a lot is the middle of the donchian, okay? Let me remove this. Let me remove the VWAP. Let's say the donchian, a donchian of 50 bars. There is a very nice line on the donchian channel. We wait 50 bars. The donchian is showing the highest high of the last 50 bars and the lowest low of the last 50 bars. But it has also a middle line, which is the average. This is the highest high, the lowest low, and this is the 50 retracement between those two lines. Now, what if we calculate the bounces over this line? We can try. So on the rebote, we enable the rebote again, and we replace the input series instead of the VWAP by the donchian channel. I don't know if you can see where I am going, no? But you can have an idea. So let's say we choose the donchian channel with 50 bars, the min line, okay? So now we are bouncing over the min line of the donchian, okay? Very nice, no? Very nice. Usually this is a really good entry because the main line of a donchian is the 50 retracement of the last highest high and the last lowest low. So usually that works. Even more if you do a confluence of that with the VWAP. But now I am dispersing. Let me go again to the original setup of today. What if I try to bounce over the TIS swing? Okay? So let's do the swing high. So on the input series, now instead of selecting the donchian, we can select the TIS swing high. TIS swing high with, we were using 10, 15, and do not remove the broken. Okay? Okay. And now what we see here is the swing high. Okay? And now we are bouncing over this. Don't ignore the shorts, okay? Because the shorts are bouncing over the high. So this is a double top. Can you see the double top? This is a double top. Okay, so no. We are taking into account the longs. Okay, but we already had this and this. Now the shorts are a different setup. It is a double top. If you want to trade a double top, yes, you can use this method. But for this example, the topic for today is the broken pivot retest. So for this setup, the long signal, the short signal is not useful. Transparent. Only the longs. And the longs are perfect. Now, how can I do the shorts? The same. Select, copy, paste, and invert everything. So now, on the second rebote, I turn off the longs, transparent, and paint the shorts. The signal down is now red. But we need to also change the swing line, because now we are bouncing over the swing low. Okay? So shorts over the swing low, longs over the swing high. Okay? And now we get this. Look at this. Long, short, long, with only two indicators. And guess how difficult it is to automate this? You only need to copy this as a fast signal and execute. One copy. One copy for the longs, one copy for the shorts, and markers. On Builder is really, really simple. Let me show you an example. On Builder, we only need to do, let's do an example. I know it is too late, sorry for that. I don't want to remove this. Let's create a new one. New strategy. With broken pivot retest 3. Okay? But now we have more parameters, because you know, here, can you see the colors? No, the colors is when we are starting to look for a bounce. We need to wait a certain number of bars and also a certain distance. So we can ignore those crazy, for example, this one. Okay, I don't want a long here, because I need a big distance. Okay, how can I do that? It is just a parameter on the signal, and I guess it is almost zero. No, let's say from 60 to 70 we have 10 points here. 10 points. Let's say we want 20. We can remove this, change this to. Sorry, it is the rebote. On the rebote, we want 10 bars. Instead of half a point, we want, I don't know, 10 points. Let's see if we get the signal removed. Okay? No signal here, but we get the rest of the longs or no? Let me check. Okay, this long here. These longs remains, the good ones, and the other no. Okay? So we have more control. Anyway, let's for a moment try to create the logic. I want to show you how simple it is. We need, okay, target, stop, target, 50. Stop, also 50. And we need strength to the left, strength to the right. We have a space. Let's make it simple, okay? Let's ignore the rest. How is the long? The long. We need to detect that this plot is present. So, the indicator rebote, TIS rebote, this one, with the parameters that we are using here, 50, 10, 0.5, and the plot I want to check is signal up, this triangle, is not equal 0, is not equal miscellaneous numeric value 0. It means it exists, we have a triangle. But wait, because the rebote is not from the price, it's from the swing high. So click here and select the other indicator, TIS swing. TIS swing. Swing. We have 10 for the left, 15 for the right, don't broke, signal up, okay? And I guess that's all. Let's see. So when this is true, enter long. Or let's draw something very evident. Set background color in black. Black. Okay, now how are the shorts? Duplicate. And we need the same rebote, but we need to look at the signal down. But we are using rebote over a different line. Which line? Signal down. Okay, so we are using rebote shorts from the signal down, from the... Okay, when this is true, let's paint the background in color, I don't know, red. Okay, compile and see what we get. Very simple, no? Only one row. Okay. Now let's add the strategy. I forgot the name. I guess it was with broken pivot something. With broken pivot. I forgot the letter N. Broke pivot retest 3. Okay. So now this is the new enable. Okay, can you see long, long, and short? Simple. Okay, it can be simpler. Only this. I am going to share this complete also. In fact, you only need to add an enter long, an enter short, and you have it ready. Okay, and you can optimize all the parameters. Okay, sorry, I was not trying to make it so long. And again, the idea is to do this more or less each 15 days, explaining new setups. And I am going to share with you later, I am going to send you an email with the recording of this session and also a coupon. And you can use that coupon, the coupon is for the TIS swing and you can get it free, okay? But the coupon is valid only for the 10 first purchase, okay? And also, I am going to share with you a coupon for the rebote. If you like it, that coupon is for everyone with a 50% discount. And that's all. Questions? Thank you, Charles. George has raised the hand. George, if you want to post a question, let me show you this again. You need to use this button, meeting tools, and then go to Q&A, questions and answer, and there you can post your questions. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so that's all for today. See you. Bye bye. Yes, George, you can use the idea is the same. George is asking if we can use a higher time frame pivot. You can do that either on Builder or on markers. This is too complex to analyze this here, but we can discuss this on the Discord chat room. Oh, we have another questions. Let me explain this again for DL. You can post questions clicking on this button, Meeting Tools. You click on Meeting Tools and then you select Q&A. And can this work on Ninja? What we saw today is structure. Okay, so it works everywhere. It doesn't matter which is the bar, because the pivots are pivots anywhere. So yes, it will work on any bar type or time frame. Regarding the coupons, I will send the 2 coupons to the people who registered. So if you are here, you are registered. So I will send that later to all those emails. Okay, and the coupons are again to get the TIS swing free, so a 100% discount, and to get the rebote with a 50% discount. Really, the bar type doesn't matter, because a pivot is a pivot, a double top is a double top, a broken pivot is a broken pivot in any time frame. So it is not going to change nothing. But you can change this on your chart. If you join, good question, Charles. If you join the 99 session, we join all Mondays. We join all Mondays, and we have a session similar to this. It is a bit longer, more or less 1 hour and a half. And we do similar things to this, and yes, you have access to hundreds of videos, more or less 4 years of weekly sessions. Those sessions include the video, of course, Gemini analysis with the description of the session, the templates for charts, for the chart, the strategies, so a lot of stuff. If you don't want, if this is too much, you can subscribe on YouTube, and you can also get this. The price is lower, but there are no material to download. By the way, this 99 monthly also includes indicators like markers and several others. Thank you, Loki. Let me clarify the YouTube, okay? Because there are two things. One is this. those training sessions, with a cost of 99, this is live. We join live all Mondays. You have access to all these indicators. You have access to templates, strategies. We have more than 4 years of videos. So all those videos with the indicators and the templates and everything, this is an example session. All those videos are also available on YouTube, but only the video. Okay, so you can subscribe on YouTube, the paid subscription on YouTube. You pay to YouTube, and then you can see the videos, but only the videos. No material, no download, no indicators. But that's another option. Okay, let me know if this type of setups is interesting for you. Please post your comments below. So thank you everyone, and we have a chat room on Discord where we can chat about all of these setups. You can find me also there. The access is free and the instructions are on the description of this video. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.